Hello, and welcome to Trekkie and Beyond, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Monika.
And I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 9, because I know my numbers, of season 4 of Lower Decks. This episode is called The Inner Fight. Should be called Rerun, because that's what it felt like for some parts. But Captain Freeman assigns our lower deckers to an overly safe mission to keep her daughter out of trouble, while she, Shax, and Rutherford go on their mission of their own, where we have to wonder, are you just being a little overconfident, or do you truly understand what's going on? Because I didn't. So let's go into it. Monika, initial thoughts. What did you think?
I was shaking my head throughout this episode, saying either shaking my head and saying "arg, arg." I'll start with the positives here. I'm so glad that T'Lyn is back. We missed her over the last 2 or so episodes, and it's nice to see her Vulcan nerve pinch, her logic. I think she helped ground that away mission where Mariner was located. And then the cons. This seems like it's all about Mariner. Mostly, it's focused on Mariner, and she's suffering with survivor's guilt. And once again, they need a counselor to talk things out. So, I know that's an issue and its face. I just like a little bit more action, and maybe we'll see that in the finale because this was to be continued. What do you think about the episode overall?
So I have to say, in the first half, they had me in the first half, not gonna lie. What is that famous little joke? You had me in the first half, not gonna lie. I was really pissed off with Captain Freeman. I was like, what are we doing? What is going on? What is happening? Like, who are you? During her mission, I was very annoyed. Thankfully, it was a good ending, so I was like, all right, yay for her story. For Mariner, I think I've mentioned this either last episode, the episode before last. Pick a lane and live in it. If Mariner is always going to be off the rails, let her always be off the rails. Don't try to teach her. Don't ever have a come to Jesus moment with her. She is going to be the badass who never listens and does whatever she wants. Let her be that person, and I will enjoy her for what she is because we know what we are supposed to expect. But if she is ever supposed to learn a lesson, let her learn the lesson. Just let her learn it, okay? Because it's showing that she's very immature, that she can never stick to anything that she's learned if it doesn't fit whatever monicum or whatever episode, whatever she's going through. So going into a deeper dive of this episode, this is the first part of a part 2 episode that is basically the culmination of this entire season's mystery. We are seeing that more every ship that's been taken has been a non-Federation ship. We've learned that, but it's also been some higher ups from the Federation have been taken, not the ships, just the people. And in the effort of keeping Mariner from going off the rails, like she did in the opening sequence, those little bird thingies, they give her a fake dangerous mission of going over a weather buoy to see what's going on, while Captain Freeman and her team go on the real mission of trying to locate a missing officer to like keep them safe. So simple mission. And so, not Taylor. And so Tendi is like, oh wait, no, this buoy has been tampered with. Something else is going on. And then we see Klingons in the background. And then we see that on this planet that no one inhabits because of all these storms are some of the members, not all of the members, of the different ships that have gone missing. And we only see the leaders of those ships on the planet, not any of the crew members, because it was said that a secret had been like passed around, and now they are forced to they did a mutiny and they left and they turned off all their comms. So that makes you think, okay, are these ships not missing anymore, or are they still missing? It was a lot of little things thrown together. But we see her have a come to Jesus moment in this episode. And I think, hopefully, knock on wood, beating a dead horse, that this one sticks. And we learn that the reason she is the way that she is because she has a little bit of a survivor's guilt when it comes to one of her friends. And it's Cito. She died. And that caused Mariner to like never want to be higher than where her friend was, which you couldn't have figured this out in therapy a couple years ago. Like, no shade, no, like, never to like whitewash someone's pain, but like, if this was the answer all along, why not tell people that? Like, why? Like, Why? Your thoughts on Mariner's storyline up until the end before we get to the end part.
Sure. I want to just talk about Ceto for a bit. I think I would care more if I previously met Ceto somewhere in the last 4 seasons. If it was the female that she went to the academy with, that was also a captain, and we saw that in one of the episodes where she was with the therapist, where we saw that rapport and we saw that relationship between them, then it would have more meaning to me. But because they introduce a character right as there's this awakening, it didn't have as good of a solid landing, I think. She was in another Star show. She was in Next Generation. But here, I didn't see like a connection like we see with Talin, which is a new character they introduced, like dived in deeper this season, and we see that they have bonded a lot, right? So, and they share, they've gone on journeys together. If I've seen that previously with Ceto, I think I would start to feel more of why this is a sensitive subject now compared to before and all the other times she's gone through this whole should I be in this position, I don't really want a promotion, and like all this flakiness.
So, like all her other come to Jesus moments have been with a friend, and it's so, and like people you were supposed to be able to be vulnerable with, you know, people you were supposed to be able to talk to and have a deep, meaningful conversation with, because your friends are not supposed to judge you. They're supposed to keep your secrets, and you're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, come tell me, I love you, hugs, ha 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 ha. Like, it's okay. And we see that Mariner's come to Jesus moment was with a Klingon who was trying to kill each other. And it's interesting that her most vulnerable time with her come to Jesus moment, because if this is the real one, if this is the one that truly causes her to act the way that she does, it's very interesting that she had it with someone who was not someone she could technically, quote unquote, trust, who should not have been a friend, who was not a friend who would have respected her like secrets and understood and helped her. It was actually someone who was like, okay, and like it was someone who gave her the tough love instead of being supportive and understanding, which I think sometimes that doesn't always work. But for Mariner, it could not have been someone who was on her side. It had to be someone who was just like, you are disgracing your friend's and your friend's memory. Like, she died, so you're just going to be rebellious. So you never who asked you to do this? So I thought that was very interesting that it wasn't a friend who told her to get your mind straight. It was her enemy was like, you're stupid.
Yeah. So really quick, it's hard to tell who is really dead because anyone can come back, right? So and especially if she's a captain, then Ceto is a captain, and then she has like 9 lives. But it seems as though Mariner's able to share this kind of decompress with people that she feels so at her level. And so this Klingon is assertive, and is also not threatening in the Star Trek realm. Like, doesn't know her mom, doesn't know her family's connected to ambassadors. Her father's a captain, an ambassador. No, an admiral. And then doesn't know as much about it, and that she's able to kind of vent, but still feel fairly safe that they're not going to, like, I think, rat her out or something like that.
That's true. Sometimes you need the truth like yelled at you instead of comforted. Sometimes you need to see someone just to shake the truth into you.
Right. One more thing. In those scenes, she had bags under her eyes. She didn't sleep a lot because she woke up early because she wanted to venture out on her own to this dangerous part on this strange planet. So maybe she also wasn't 100%.
It also goes to show that like people's reactions to stuff or like the way they act out doesn't always make sense, because you would think that if you are trying to avoid like being a general and fighting in a war, which yes, it is true. You sign up to Starfleet to study science, not to be a general, not to send my friends to die, not to do any of those things. Those are very true, valid reasons. So why not just go into like a section of it that doesn't travel? Like if you are so against it, like I feel like if I was so against, I mean, granted, you can't always choose where you're stationed, but you can choose what you study. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so like it's like, yes, some people on the ship, but not everyone on the ship is going to be someone who goes off the ship to away missions and does the dangerous things. There are roles within it that you could have like, okay, I'm going to leave the section that requires me to be in danger and just like stay aboard and do like medical or like what was it that the brother did, that he was a zoologist or whatever. He just stayed on the ship and studied things. So it's like there's ways of getting, like if you did not want to be a part of like the fight, why fight? But trauma is different for everyone. It comes out differently for everyone. But for me, it's like, Marina, you writers, are you just making up stuff at this point? Because what's going on?
Right. Well, she seemed to double her anxiety or her interest in being even more aggressive once she found out that her mother planned this side quest.
Yes.
Right.
Like,
and then also like Boimer complained about a stick being in his shoe. And like, so she was like, I can't stay with these people. She needed her own agenda and mission to save the day.
Yeah, I just need I need this one to stick because I can't do this again. I can't have her come. I really thought in like season 3, like right before the whole Texas class thing happened, that when she was talking about her ship, that she was really truly having her come to Jesus moment and this was over. And I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to go through another get your life together. I'm this way because I'm crazy. I'm like this. This is how I do things. I really just had a really bad childhood. That's why I act the way that I act. Like, can we just make one stick, please? Just make one stick, because this whiplash is killing me. But going over into Captain Freeman's story, I have to admit, I was about to shake the crap out of her too. I was like, what are we doing? What is this like hubris? What is this cockiness? What is this? What are we doing, Captain Freeman? What are we doing? Why are you acting this way? We see that they are going to this like outlaw planet to get some information on where one of the missing Starfleet like higher ups are. Lorco, Nicholas, Nick. And it seems like everything that she was doing wasn't working because she was going in with like the mindset that Starfleet was respected. Only it turns out that like everything that she did was on purpose, so that way they would lower their guard when it came to other people and trying to show off. So I was like, okay, at the end of it, I was like, okay, yes, I'm glad. Thank you for like, there was a point to this. Because I was like, look, your daughter's going crazy and you're going crazy too in the same episode. We can't do this. My mind can't take this. Both of you at the same time, I'm about to go crazy. What did you think of her storyline?
She was playing dumb, and she had a scheme the whole time. So the nice thing is, Engineer Billup was under disguise as like a bounty hunter and was able to get into places that we thought that she didn't know that she could get into, but end up being that she knew the whole time that wearing their Starfleet uniforms, they wouldn't be able to get some of the intel that they needed to find out more about Nick. And so that's when I started to dig in further to find out, like, why are they going after Nick compared to Dr. Crusher and all these other prestigious people who seem to be more important upper deckers compared to who we find out was Nick, who was also a lower decker, but was like a rogue ex-Starfleet pilot.
It was okay, so yeah, because it's very interesting. I have to say, well, this episode reminded me of the Ferengi planet, but like in reverse, which is why her actions were like shocking me, because it seemed like she was acting like the admiral or the other captain who was like came in thinking like they knew everything, they could do everything, and then people were just like basically knocking them down. So I was very happy that she was like, I was using their bias against them, which thankfully, because I was just like, again, Captain Freeman, I can't take you and your daughter being crazy in the same episode. I just can't. I'm gonna die. I feel like Shax knew, but Rutherford didn't, and I feel like it was so that way his reaction would be real to like what was going on. Because Rutherford was like, no, that's not a puppet, and his organs and everything. Stop shaking him. It was just like, oh, okay. Captain Freeman, have you gone crazy? Like, what is going on? And it reminded me of when the captain was dancing for the Ferengi. It's just like, at what level does this stop? Like, when are we going to get it together? So I just thought that was hilarious. But then we see a way that both of these A and B stories come together. Because as they get the information for Nick, because Billups, great undercover bounty hunter, they find the location of Nick and they hid there, and they are trying to say, hey, we're Starfleet, we're here to protect you. But Rutherford makes a huge discovery that Nick is the one who created the ship, or built the ship that has been capturing all the other Starfleet people. It's not Starfleet people, all the other ships. And we also see that with Beckett, where her story is, that when all the other leaders of the different ships are fighting and like going to battle, she wants to use her words to be like, hey guys, let's work together to like fix this station so we can get like a whole signal out. And while she does that, she goes missing. Like, she's transported out the moment she's trying to bring harmony to the group. It was interesting. Side note, it was very interesting to see Tendi use her like, I'm the mistress, the winner mistress of the constellation, something like that, whatever her title is, to stop the Orions from attacking the Starfleet members. And we see that those leaders now are working together to get onto the bird of prey to stop the Klingons, who we think is the people who are behind it at this moment, but it's not. It's really Nicholas. And then Mariner's on that ship, and she wakes up and she's like, I need to get out of here. And Nick is there. And he's like, we're going to cause some trouble. And so I'm a little confused. I'm like, what's going on? Because the one that means Mariner knows him, because she called him Nick. She didn't call him Nicholas. She didn't call him by his last name. So they are friends. They know each other. That's the one thing. Two, why did he leave everyone on those ships? And where's the rest of the members? Like, where's the other people who were on that ship? Like, we know that they had a mutiny and they turned off their transponder or whatever, but where are they? Like, how come no one has found them again? How come they haven't like checked in? What is going on? I am very confused. Your thoughts on the tying of the ends?
I started thinking that the planet where Tendi Boimer and all the other, I don't know, representatives with all the other kidnapped people. Mm-hmm. I started to think that was more like a Noah's Ark. Like, there was like different people from different races. And I was wondering why they were collecting them together. I don't know if that's like some sort of like kidnapping to get attention. This seems to be more about like fighting over resources there, and that they should be working together. I don't know if there's an underlying message with Nick, because normally he has good intentions, but sometimes his execution is not correct. And he reminds me a lot of a Han Solo from another franchise, Star Wars, which I need to also mention that the scenes where Captain Freeman was on that planet, that reminded me very much of like Star Wars. And also trying to get to land on that planet felt very much like Star Wars.
And I need to watch this next episode. I need to know what's going to happen. The Noah's Ark thing seems very interesting, because like, is there it reminds me of from another space show, Futurama. Like, there was this like whale or thing that would when something was the last of its species, it would come and pick it up and like preserve it, so like no species would ever go extinct or something like that. I think maybe he is doing something like that. He's saving certain species, because what is he about to do? And he's putting them on a planet that's inhabitable. So, though I mean, granted, there were probably male Orions on the ship that just sort of left. Was like, I mean, to be honest, like unless space is gone, we do need a male and a female to continue. And that, as for some of the races, there was either 2 males or was 2 females of the same race. So unless we want to do multicultural, unless all these kids are going to be multicultural. But it's very interesting. That is a good. I'm sort of hoping it's like a Noah's Ark type thing, because I'm interested now.
All I know for sure is a galactic kidnapping scheme led by, as far as we know right now, an ex-Starfleet junior grade lieutenant. Similar to where Mariner was, so like a Mariner peer.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very curious to see where this episode is going, like what's going to happen, because this was, I think, Lower Decks, one of Lower Decks few, I think, no, this is Lower Decks only like season-long mystery. And so because you have animation, because you have no limit to what you can draw, I'm really hoping that this end is amazing. And they're not just talking to people through math. You know who I'm talking about.
Discovery.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yes, the opening scene reminded me a lot of Jurassic Park. And that's when Boimler, T'Lyn, and Mariner, who's like it's been like a Shiro this the last few episodes, was trying to restore things on a power relay station. I just want to say, those lizards, I knew that they could overcome that. That wasn't like Moopsie. Moopsie was so much better because I felt a little vested into Moopsie. And then, like, it's always the quiet ones that come out and, like, just eat you alive. So I just wanted to circle back to that opening scene and how that was really setting the stage for Mariner's sense of wanting to save everything and everyone.
The doctor, my final thought is going to be about the doctor who was there, who's like, the moment the fence was down, he was afraid because he understood. People, look at me. Wild animals are wild animals. Animals are animals. It does not matter how much you study them, how much you love them, how cute you think they are. They can kill you. Have respect for that fact, that they are not adorable creatures. Because if this first episode beginning of this episode taught you anything, someone who spent his entire life studying those birds, he said he has a romantic study ship or whatever it was called with those birds. The moment that fence went down, he had a healthy amount of fear because he understood those things will kill. Wild animals are wild animals. Don't trust them. But as always, I'm Andrea.
And I'm Monica.
And live long and prosper.